Hi everyone, it's me Spring, the fiber enthusiast, and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be doing this crocheted cowl. You will need two colorways in a worsted or medium worsted weight, and I'm using a 5mm crochet hook. Now for this particular yarn, it required a 4.5mm crochet hook because it is a lighter worsted weight. This is Soho Vista and the colorway Fluffy Cloud and Emerald. So you will also need a pair of scissors, a stitch marker if you so choose to use one, and a needle to sew in the ends. I'll be using my 5mm dots and this yarn. Let's go ahead and jump into it and get started. If you like this video, please leave a comment down below, like, share, and if you're not already subscribed, be sure and subscribe. Click the bell notification so that way you know when a new video comes out. To begin, we're going to start with a slip knot on our hook, and we are going to start the foundation row for this cowl. And to do so, we're going to be using part of the jasmine stitch. So what we're going to do is chain 2, and then we're going to go back into the very first chain. And we're going to be calling that the eye of the flower or the star, whichever you would like to call it for the jasmine stitch. So we're going to hold this loop here, and we're going to yarn over and go into that first chain, yarn over and pull up a loop. That's 3 loops. Now we're going to do that again. Yarn over, go into it, yarn over, pull up a loop. Now you have 5 loops on your hook. You're going to hold this strand here when you pull it through. So what I do is I hold tight with my thumb, creating a space. So when I yarn over to pull through all 5 of those loops, I'm holding that off to the side because we want to insert our hook into that loop and then yarn over and pull up a loop and kind of give it a tug just to kind of tighten things down. Then yarn over and go through both of those loops and chain 1. Now we're going to go back into this eye right here where we finished up the previous one, not into the chain, but into the previous one. And we're going to do that again. So I'm going to hold just below where I'm going to be going into. I'm going to pull my loop up just a little bit, yarn over, go into that eye, yarn over, pull up a loop. 3 loops. Do it again for 5 loops. Reach up and grab a hold of the bottom of those loops, creating a space between your yarn that you're going to yarn over and pull through and all those loops. That way you can pick that up, yarn over, pull up a loop, and now you can finish with yarn over and go through both of those and chain 1. You're going to do this until you have 34 of these. And then we will carry on to row 2. All right, once you have your 34 chains, for the sake of this tutorial, I'm only doing 14. But once you have your 34 jasmine chains, I'm going to call them, we're going to join in the round. You finished with a chain on the end, and we're going to reach around, and you kind of want to make sure that this is not getting twisted. Reach around and slip stitch to that very first chain at the bottom of all of those loops. Now we're going to join in our contrasting color at this point. This is up to you. If you want to do it in a solid, you absolutely could. But I am doing a contrasting color. So I'm just going to pull a loop through with the contrasting color here to join in the round. Okay. Now that we have joined in the round, we're going to chain 1 and get set up. Turn your work so that way you can see the front of your stitches here. And we're going to place 2 half double crochets into the bottom of your very first stitch. So at the very bottom below those loops into the eye. And you're going to place 2 half double crochets into that little eye there. Now we're going to skip over these loops and go to your next eye in between these little jasmine chains. And you're going to place 2 half double crochets into that little eye. And that's what you're going to do all the way around. You're going to hop to the next eye and 2 half double crochets in the next eye. Work your way all the way around to the very end, ending in 2 half double crochets in your very last stitch. I'll meet up with you at the end. And you can continue with the same color if you choose, but I am going to pull up my main color again, the one I used for the jasmine, and pull it up to finish slip stitching that row together. Now with this row, we do need to turn inside out to work it. So just kind of flip your work inside out. We're going to chain 1 and turn. We're going to place a single crochet into this very first stitch. Then we're going to place a bobble into the next one. So we're going to go into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, into the stitch, pull up a loop. 4 loops on our hook, yarn over, go through all 4. Now we're going to go to the next stitch and place a single crochet. Then we're going to go and repeat. Pull up a loop, yarn over, and 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, go through all 4. Single crochet into the next stitch. And you're just doing single crochet, bobble, single crochet, bobble. The bobble might be a little bit different than you're used to, but we go right into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, go back into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. And then yarn over, go through all 4 loops. Single crochet in the next stitch, and continue on. You're going to do that all the way around. I'll meet up with you at the end, and we will change back to the green in order to repeat row 2 for row 4. When you've come to the end, your last stitch should have been a bobble, and we are going to join in the round to our very first single crochet. Then you can turn your work back the opposite direction. The bobble row or round is the only round that you need to turn it inside out, so that way you get that stitch effect that you're looking for. All the rest of the rounds will be done the right direction. All right. So what I'm going to do here, because we were inside out to do that, I'm going to slip back in to our stitch here where we joined. That single crochet where we joined, and I'm going to yarn over and pull a loop up. I'm going to go through my white and pull the tail of the white down. Now I'm going to chain 1 and half double crochet twice into that same stitch. And then we're going to skip over that bobble stitch and go over to our single crochet, and we're going to work 2 half double crochets into that single crochet. And that's where your half doubles will be worked all the way around. You're going to skip over the bobble and work 2 half doubles into that single crochet. And you're going to work those groups of 2 half double crochets all the way around. When you get to the end, I'll meet up with you and we will switch back to our white and begin the jasmine stitch. All right, next we're going to do the first row. It'll look just like these that we started down here. We're going to do the first row with the jasmine chain, the foundation of the jasmine stitch here. So we're going to chain 1 and then into that same stitch that you ended, you slip stitch the last row too. We're going to do that same yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull up a loop. 3 loops, yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull up a loop. 5 loops on your hook. And now we're going to trap that strand off to the side, pull through, pick up the strand on your hook, yarn over, pull a loop through, and then go through those 2 loops to finish that. Now, instead of chaining 1 at this point, we're actually going to skip the next stitch and slip stitch to the following. So once you've done that, we're going to do it again. We're going to chain 1, pull up a loop, yarn over, and we're going to go into where we slip stitch to. Yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, 5 loops, yarn over, and go through all 5. Pick up that strand you held behind, pull a loop through it, and 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, go through both of those. And now we're going to skip 1 and slip stitch to the next. And now you're just going to repeat this all the way around. All right, when you've reached the end, you have this 1 stitch left to skip. We're going to slip stitch to this bottom of our very first petal. These are now going to be called petals as we're working on the jasmine stitch. All right, so now you have slip stitch to the beginning. And we're going to start with 2 petals, and then we will work out from there. What I would like for you to do is to pull just a little bit of a loop up, and we're going to slip stitch to the top of this first little petal here. You want that loop that you pull up to match the rest of your loops. All right, so now we're in the top, we're in the eye of that petal. We're going to create another petal by chaining 1, bringing up a loop, and doing as we've been doing with 5 loops on our hook. All right, now we need to create our next petal, the second petal. So we're going to yarn over, and we're going to go to our next eye here, and we're going to yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull up a loop. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the first one, 1, 2, 3, 4 for the second one. Now we're going to hold that same strand like we were doing with those single petals, and we're going to yarn over and pull through all of them. Now we're going to pick up that strand that we held behind, give it a little tug, yarn over, and pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the 2 loops. Now we can start working in sets of 3 petals at a time. And from now till the end of the round, we will be doing 3 petals at a time. So we're going to chain 1, pull up a loop, and we're going to create a petal in the eye of this, the top part of these 2 petals in that eye. So let's create a petal. So that's 5. We're going to yarn over, and we're going to jump down to where these 2 petals are, the eye of that one. And we're going to create 4 more loops by creating our next petal. Now we're going to yarn over and jump over to our next eye. And we're gonna, once again, 4 loops. This gets a lot of stitches here. 4 loops. So we have 5, 4, and 4. We're gonna hold a strand back, yarn over, and go through all of those loops. And it may take a couple times of getting used to this. Pick up the loop that you held back, give it a little tug, draw everything together, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through those 2 loops. Now we're going to do that again. Maybe I can make it through all of the loops without falling out halfway through. All right, chain 1. We're going to go into the eye where these 3 petals are to start with and create a petal. 5 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to go down to where these 2 connect into the eye of it and create a 4 loop petal. Now I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to hop over to our very next eye and create a 4 loop petal. So then again, 5, 4, 4, we're going to hold a strand back, yarn over, and go through all of those loops. Pick up your strand, yarn over, pull through, give it a little tug, yarn over, go through those 2. So now we had 2, 3, and 3. From this point around until the very last one, we will be doing the same thing, 3. So I'm going to do that a little bit faster with you. I'm going to chain 1 and create my 5 loop petal. Yarn over, go into where the 2 petals come together. 4 loop petal, yarn over, skip over to the eye of the next petal and do another 4 loop petal. Hold my strand, go through all of those loops, pick up my strand, yarn over, pull up a loop, and yarn over, go through those 2 loops, chain 1. All right, continue that all the way around and I'll meet up with you at the end. Okay, to end this, we are going to do 4 all at the same time. You will get a lot of loops on your hook to deal with, but you can do it. So we're going to start with a flower here, flower petal here, our 5. Yarn over, drop down, and do as we've been doing, our 4 loop. And then we're going to jump over to the next eye and do our 4 loop. And then we're going to yarn over and we're going to hop all the way over to the top of this very first set of 2. Insert your hook and we're going to yarn over and do 4 loops for that one. So you have 5, 4, 4, and 4. And now we're going to yarn over, hold that strand off to the side, and you're going to go through all of those loops. Takes a little bit of manipulating. Now you're going to pick up the strand as you've been doing before. Give it a little tug, yarn over, and go through those 2 loops. All right, now we're going to start again. We're going to chain 1, and this will be the last row of the last round of the jasmine stitch for this section. When you do your repeats, you will go through the same process all over again. So we're going to start with our 2. So start with a 5 loop petal, yarn over, hop over to your next eye, and we're going to work a 4 loop petal and go through both of those just like that. So now we have 2 petals as we started from prior. Now we're going to work 3 petals like we did all the way around, where we create the 5 loop petal, yarn over, hop down to the center of the flower and do a 4 loop, petal, yarn over, and jump over to the eye of the next flower and do another 4 loop. And then you're going to yarn over, going to go through all of those. All right, now to begin our 3 petal again, like we did in the last row, we're going to do a 5 loop petal to start. Yarn over, hop down to the eye of that, all those petals that are grouping together. And we're going to do another 4 loop, yarn over, and jump over to the next eye and do another 4 loop. Hold your strand back, yarn over, and go through all of those loops on your hook. Pick up your strand, yarn over, go through, and then yarn over, go through. And you're going to continue working those all the way around until we're down here at the end. I'll meet back up with you and we'll do all 4 of those petals together again. All right, so let's do that group of 4 petals all together again. We're going to do our 5 loop, hop down and do our 2 loop, hop down and do our 4 loop. We're going to jump over to the next eye and do 4 loop. And then we're going to come up to the top of this very first group of 2 and do another 4 loop. Then we're going to go through all of those and there we go. All right. Now what you're going to do is switch back over, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring my hook around, go into that eye. I'm going to bring my green up, and we're going to be repeating rows 2, 3, and 4. Bring my green up and pull through and through. Make sure you leave enough slack that you're not super tight. You can cut away and rejoin, absolutely. But now we're just going to repeat rows 2, 3, and 4. To start this off, we're going to have our chain 1 and 2 half double crochets into that very first eye. Then we're going to skip over to our next eye and 2 half double crochets into the next eye. And you're going to repeat that all the way around. Then change colors to your white if you're changing colors. Don't forget to turn your work inside out for your puff stitch. Turn it right back and create the last row of half double crochets to every other stitch, just like we did here. Now, if you want to repeat this jasmine section and this section all over again, so say you wanted to do this all over again and make this a taller cowl, by all means, you just are repeating rows 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7. Make sure I got that right. Rows 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All over again, and then you would finish up with repeating rows 2, 3, and 4. And then I will come back and show you how to do this again. All right, so just like we did down here, we're going to do the same thing to finish off. You're going to chain 1, and we're going to create a petal into that same stitch that you slip stitch 2. So a 5 loop petal. We're going to hold our strand to the side, pull through, and pull through. Skip 1 and slip stitch to your next stitch. Chain 1 and repeat. Skip 1 and slip stitch. And you're just going to repeat that all the way around and slip stitch to this very first stitch here to finish up, and that will be your cowl. I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, whether it's in private email or it is in the comments section. And if you make this, I would love to see it. You can share it in the Facebook group. You can send it to me in a private email, and you can share it wherever, but please tag me so that way I can see it. I want to see your beautiful work and what colors you chose to go with, whether you went with a solid or different colors. I cannot wait. All right, everyone, be blessed, be a blessing, and until next time, bye for now.